Good evening. My name is Tracy Craig. I'll be moderating tonight's meeting. This is Alameda County Environmental Health Department's community meeting to discuss the proposed cleanup plan for the 1164 West 8th Street site in Hayward. This meeting is being recorded, and we will upload a link to the GeoTracker website so that people who could not attend can watch this presentation. We also have Spanish interpretation, and I'm going to go ahead and have the Spanish interpreters tell people how to join if they're listening in Spanish, and then we'll get back to our presentation.
Buenas tardes. Si ustedes necesitan escuchar la interpretación en español, diríjanse a la parte inferior de la pantalla donde encuentran el icono de interpretación. Ahí van a seleccionar el canal de su elección, en este caso español, y para escuchar solamente el español van a mutear el idioma original. Si se encuentran conectados desde un teléfono, van a dirigirse a los tres puntitos. Una vez en los tres puntitos elegirán interpretación de idiomas y elegirán el canal de su elección, en este caso el español. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Okay, so once again, my name is Tracy Craig, and I'll be moderating tonight's meeting. And with me is John Permani, and he is running the controls of the Zoom meeting. This is a Zoom webinar, which means that attendees do not have audio or visual feed. You can listen, but in order to ask a question, and we do want to hear from you, you will need to either write it in the Q&A box or raise your virtual hand. I think we do have one attendee, and that person is listening by phone, so that's a little more complicated. You'll need to push *9 to raise your hand with a question and *6 to unmute. Once again, if you're on the phone, it's *9 to raise your hand and then *6 to unmute, and then we can hear you. So again, this is Alameda County Environmental Health Department's community meeting to discuss the draft corrective action plan for the 1164 West A site in Hayward. We have a short presentation, about 10 or 15 minutes, followed by questions and answers. I would ask that the public hold their questions during the actual presentation, because oftentimes those questions are answered during the presentation itself. We are in the middle of a public comment period for the proposed cleanup plan that runs from August 22nd to September 23rd. We will take comments tonight, and we also have a slide about how to provide comments during the entirety of the public comment period. Okay, so first I'd like to introduce who's here tonight. With Alameda County Environmental Health Department, we have Drew York, who is the case manager for this. And then I just want to talk about the regulatory agencies that are overseeing this. We have the City of Hayward, and I think people can read this, but in case the person on the phone can't, they are the property owners. They also issue grading permits, approve traffic control plans, and development. And then the Bay Area Air Quality Management District also has a role during construction. If there's dust complaints, people can call the Air District, or they can actually call me, and I will work with the team to quickly reduce any kind of dust impacts and get the project going again. And then next, I'd like to introduce the remediation or cleanup team. So we have Mahabal Hospitality, and we have people that are joining from there. I'm not going to go ahead and read those people's names simply because really this is Alameda County's meeting, and they're here to answer questions only if Drew needs further information. Then we also have Rue Associates. They're the environmental consultant on this. They're overseeing the remediation, and we have representation from them. And then finally, John and I are here running the meeting. Okay, and I'm going to hand this over now to Drew York, once again, the project manager for Alameda County, to take us through the technical portion of the presentation. Drew?
Yeah, thank you, Tracy.
Sure.
What we're looking at right here is an aerial. You can see the site that we're going to be talking about tonight. It's outlined in this blue line. It's surrounded by commercial and retail. You can see some hangars to the west. There's a Home Depot to the south, a commercial hotel to the east, and then a commercial strip mall to the north. In the center of the site, you'll see under the word site, you'll see a airplane tarmac, and then also to the south and the east of that tarmac are gray and pink squares. Those are foundations of former aircraft hangars and support buildings. Next slide. So an overview of the site. There's been previous operations at the site from the 1900s, 1940s. There was agriculture and row crops. In the 70s, to the 40s to the 70s, it was a vacant lot. And then from the 70s to the late 90s, it operated as aircraft storage, maintenance, and repair. The developer plans to redevelop the site into 2 buildings. One building will be a 4-story hotel with approximately 118 units, which is known as the South Building. And the North Building will have a retail and commercial.
And Drew, I'd just like to clarify, our meeting tonight is really to discuss the cleanup plan to support that redevelopment, but not to discuss the development itself, which is at the city's oversight. Thank you.
Next slide. So environmental investigations have been conducted at this site since 2017. Alameda County took over regulatory oversight operations in 2023, in which we requested that they advance soil and collect soil vapor and groundwater samples from the site. These investigations were conducted in 2023, in late 2023, and then early 2024. Results of those investigations showed petroleum, also known as total petroleum hydrocarbons, and then pesticides in soil, and then VOCs in soil gas, and then groundwater there was no detections of any significant impacts in groundwater. Next slide. So what we're looking at here is a picture of the site page. I guess to the page left would be the north of the site. You can see the yellow outlines are former building footprints. Those are, again, hangars and support structures. The gray hatching is the proposed development. The south building is the larger gray hatching, and then the commercial and retail is the smaller gray hatching. You'll also see a bunch of dots on this aerial. Those are samples that have been collected. Those the ones with the triangles are soil samples as well as soil vapor samples, and then the pink dots are groundwater samples. What I'll be talking about in the next couple slides, I do want to point out here, there's 3 areas of targeted remediation. One area would be in that kind of blowout box to the page left. One area would be to the page north, and then the last area would be in the footprint of the hotel, as well as additionally out to S10 and S9. Next slide. So Alameda County is currently reviewing the draft corrective action plan. Their proposed cleanup would be a couple steps. One would be there are a couple areas where they want to refine the excavation area under the hotel, and then there would be an additional area to step out to further laterally and vertically delineate some pesticides. Their proposed excavation includes about 3,400 cubic yards. That would equate to about 225 truckloads, and that would be for disposal at an offsite facility. Those excavations would then be backfilled with clean fill material that has been approved by us through various laboratory analytical samples that show that they're not bringing on contaminated fill material. Those are estimated to be about 180 trucks. And then based on some of the soil vapor samples results, they will be installing a vapor mitigation system that consists of a subslab vapor barrier, which you're seeing to the picture to the right, a venting system, and those two prevent potential impacts from entering the building. And then also utility trench plugs. They prevent potential impacts from traveling along preferential pathways. And then we require implementation of institutional controls to make sure that those protective measures are in place and are not damaged over the years. Next slide. So what we're seeing here is the 3 targeted excavation areas. Again, I mentioned that southern area may be refined based on additional investigations that will be conducted in the next month or so. So during excavation, there'll be community protection measures. One of those community protection measures is air quality monitoring. So that'll be conducted by the environmental consultant, and that will consist of real-time perimeter air monitoring. Those stations are usually upwind and downwind and crosswind of the site. There'll be a meteorological station that will then monitor wind direction and speed. And then the action levels are decided by the Bay Area Air Quality Management District under their regulations. And then the consultant has the power to stop stop work at the site if those action levels are exceeded, to implement additional dust control measures, which then can potentially start work again. Also during the excavation, you can see here some pictures of what will happen during the remedial excavation. Typically, the contractor will spray water to control dust from becoming airborne. They'll be keeping the soil wet, which further traps the dust. There'll be direct loading from the excavator into either in a Connex box or what you see here in this picture, directly into a truck. And then also covering stockpiles, and then having a decon station for trucks. You can see this picture right here is a decon station. These are rumble pads to make sure that any impacted soil is not tracked off-site, and then also street sweeping as necessary. So truck management, I touched a little bit on that last slide, but there is a potential for 15 to 18 trucks to be leaving the site daily. The truck drivers will adhere to the City of Hayward approved traffic control plans that we take a look at as well. All the trucks will be staged on site. They will not be parked in residential areas, potentially taking parking spots or anything like that. They will be required to idle under clean idling requirements. And then again, as I mentioned, they'll have some decon stations to make sure that they're not preventing dirt from going off site. And then the truck drivers and support personnel will regularly inspect the trucks to make sure that they're in good condition. Right here is a picture of the proposed proposed truck routes. So you'll see the trucks are either coming from I-80 South or I-80 North and then coming onto the site. Okay, turn it over to Tracy.
Sure. So what you can expect if this plan gets approved is remediation or cleanup would last about 1 month. Work will occur from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Friday. There'll be about 5 to 10 people out there. This is heavy construction, so you'll see a variety of big machinery out there. Alameda County does want people to know beforehand that this work is going forward, so we will be sending out a work notice to people who live and work in the area 5 days before the work actually starts. We also want to know if the work is causing you any kind of problems, so we'll have site signage out there, and there will be a point of contact. That's actually going to be me. You can call me anytime, 24/7 during this week to report any kind of concern, dust or odors or anything that you're concerned about, and I will quickly work with the project team to get that addressed. My cell phone number is down there, but it's 510-334-4866. Again, people are welcome to text me or call me, and my number will be on the site in big letters. Next slide, please, John. Okay, and then this is our schedule. Again, we're in the middle of the public comment period, so Alameda County has not approved this plan. They will be looking at all public comments received, and those will be considered before they make a decision to approve, modify, or deny the cleanup plan. We anticipate that response to I'm sorry, I didn't even say that. We will issue a response to public comments, and what that is it will tell us all, it will note all the comments that were received and how Alameda County considered those in approving the document. And that should be issued sometime in the September-October timeframe. And then the environmental team will actually have to prepare environmental plans and specifications and submit those to Alameda County. That will also happen in October. That's just the nitty-gritty details of how the work actually will be performed. Again, we'll send out a work notice 5 days in advance of the work so people can prepare themselves, with the actual work itself starting in November and lasting just about a month. And then the construction of the vapor mitigation system will be as part of the larger construction of the hotel, and that will last 36 months. I just want to note that the installation of a vapor mitigation system is overseen by the county. The construction of the hotel itself, once again, is overseen by the city. And then communications, at least during the environmental cleanup portion, will be ongoing. So we have the site signage and also the work notice. And this is our last slide. So again, we're in the public comment period. We welcome comments or interest from the public. To see the entire cleanup plan, you can go to the Water Board's GeoTracker website, and we have the link right here. And then again, my contact information, should you have questions, concerns, or want more information, is also here. That concludes our presentation for the evening. We do have one attendee, so I'm going to ask that attendee who is by phone. I'd like to ask you if you have any questions. We'd love to hear from you. Again, if you do, all you have to do is push *6 to unmute yourself, and we'll be able to hear you. So I'll give you a moment to do that. John, I don't know what that little icon is by the phone number.
I think that means that they're still muted. I've asked them to unmute if they're interested a couple times.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to ask you again, if you're interested, please unmute. We'll give you, what about if we give you a minute to do that? And if you don't, we'll assume that you're not, you don't have any questions.
I don't have any comments. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And if you do, first of all, thank you for attending. We appreciate your time. Once again, if you don't want to ask a question in a public forum, or if you have any questions that you think of after our meeting, I'm always available, and my phone number is 510-334-4866. And I would love to ask you, are you just an area resident, or what is your interest tonight, if you don't mind sharing that?
I'm the manager of Hayward Executive Airport, the owner of the property.
Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you for your time. And I think that will conclude our presentation. Once again, this will be uploaded to the GeoTracker website. We'll upload after the actual presentation itself, as well as a link to watch this presentation. So if anybody expresses interest after the fact, please refer them to this. And with that, I'd like to conclude the meeting and thank everybody for their time this evening. Good night.
Thank you.